Now at the very outset, I will tell you one thing very important, which should not really shock you, but you should know is a fact. That this one is the first center called as Muladhara Chakra. Now the word Muladhara means, Mula means the root, Adhara means the support. So this is the support of the root. The root is this Kundalini, and this is the support of the Kundalini, and this is the chakra which is bestowed upon by a deity called Sri Ganesha, who is the embodiment of innocence. It is the same deity born at this time as Christ. Now one should know that this chakra in the gross controls the pelvic plexus. I don't know how many of you are doctors here, but pelvic plexus also had sub-plexuses which are 4 in number, and they control all our excretory functions, including sex. Now if you see it clearly, it is placed below the Kundalini because it is innocence. In the mud of excretion is put the innocence because he is innocent. A child doesn't understand sex, does he? He is the eternal child. Ganesha is the eternal child. Christ is an eternal innocence. He doesn't understand sex, nor can he marry anyone. All these ideas of Christ marrying, I mean, how can you marry a little child? He doesn't develop ego or superego like human beings do. And that's why the head of the child is that of an elephant, because elephant is a very, very wise animal, and there is a story about it, but that I will tell you later on. To show that the person who is bestowing, or we can see the king who is enthroned here, is the one who is a child. His ego, superego do not meet. He does not have I-ness. This is what was the meaning of this. In this center, he resides. But that shows one thing very clearly, that sex has nothing to do with your realization. Kundalini is about it. Only this center informs that somebody is there before you who is authorized to do the job, or who is there, who has got the authority which is emitting for that person, and that's how the Kundalini rises. Just like sprouting of the seed, just like sprouting of the seed. This is the primule, you can say, of the seed which rises, but the information comes through this in here, that there is somebody who is an authority, divine authority. Authority word is very, very aggressive. Divine authority is very loving. And such a person is there, and the Kundalini rises immediately. This is how the Kundalini awakening takes place. So the first and foremost thing we have to know, that sex plays no part in Kundalini awakening. People go and learn sex behavior from animals. Now, are you going to become animals? What is there to learn in sex? I don't understand. The knowledge is already there. In India, nobody talks of sex the way you talk. We are producing much more children than you are producing. Also, there is another reason. As I told you yesterday, that no children want to be born in Western countries because they are killed, they are harmed, they are tortured. But in India, even a person may have 12 children, he loves the children. That may be another reason we are facing that. But one of them is that they know about sex quite all right, and they don't have children which we can call as illegitimate children. Very few in India illegitimate children are. Very few people divorce. I mean, they live happily. All the science you have developed of your marriage, what have you got? Are divorced people. Children are suffering. They are in the orphanage, and the old people are also in the orphanage. 10 husbands marry 10 wives, and they are planted in orphanages. No family system, nothing. So one has to understand that sex is placed here and is to be respected as a function and as a private function, specially to be sanctified by the public. For example, excretion of any kind, if the public has not sanctioned, for example, it has not been sanctioned that you go and do something on the street, you will be arrested, isn't it? So whatever is not sanctioned to you, if you do like that, because you think you have got your liberties to do it, you will be definitely arrested and will be troubled. And we can see it in nature also, that if you do all these things, you develop horrible diseases. I was seeing the statistics of the American youth, and I was amazed that 65% young people from 25 to 40 years have some sort of a disease which is a secret disease, which is an ugly disease. What a jarring thing it is. Just think of it. If you go through the statistics, you see, either they suffer from impotency or they suffer from horrible diseases which are supposed to be incurable of the sex organs. If your liberation, so-called, means license, was a good thing, nature would have been kinder to you. It is not. Apart from anything else, we have got Christ before us. Let's see what Christ has to say. He said, "Thou shalt not have adultery," said, "but I say thou shalt not have adulterous eyes." See what a powerful statement it is, because he's there near the eyes. Not only the adultery part, but even the eyes. And you see here people have their eyes roving all over, like God knows what's happening to them. They must see every woman who's passing, every woman must see every man who's passing. I don't know what are they doing, wasting their attention. He has said it so clearly, even in the church when they are sitting, when they are trying to worship Christ, they are doing nothing but flirting. Have we no respect for ourselves? First purification point comes here. The first purification comes here. Let us face it. Of course, you will be purified when the Kundalini rises. But I must tell you, when this center is catching, the Kundalini is sucked back. One has to raise it again and again and again and again and again and again to establish realization. You can become a very dry person or an over-sexy person. It can be any perversion, or you can be all sorts of perversions. I really don't even understand. A man becomes a woman and a woman becomes a man and this and that position. All sorts of nonsensical things. Dog becomes a man, and I mean, I just can't understand how you are going mad with hither and thither all over the place. I mean, I really don't understand. I was so shocked. I never knew that such things exist in this world, that human beings have gone to that limit of nonsense. Books have been written about it. I met two ladies in Basel, very near the German border. These two ladies who came to me were horrid, absolutely horrid. And this one was there and was shaking before me and all sorts of things happening to them. And I asked her, "What do you do?" "Oh, we are very qualified." I said, "How?" "We have done all the sophisticated methods of Freud." I said, "Really? Now you have surpassed him or what?" I could not give them realization. I mean, the way you have taken Freud seriously, Christ is absolutely blurred out of your family. Christ is only for a cross to be borne, that's all. But that far, nothing beyond. And cross is not the message of Christ. It's the resurrection. You are to be resurrected. He got his resurrection to prove that you can be resurrected. And how are we to resurrect when we have indulged so much into the nonsense of this? But still, I must tell you, I must confess that the grace of God has poured all its kindness now. Really, I tell you, any type of thing is really forgiven. All sins and blasphemy and all that is forgiven, and you really get your realization. I have seen people who are described as one of the worst and the worst and the worst of all. They get that realization, and that's how they get their transformation and transmutation. It's surprising how it's working. It has to work because the creation is to be saved. It is he who is worried about his creation rather than we are worried. So the first chakra I have told you about has got four, we call them petals in Sanskrit language, petals. And these petals have 4 subplexuses to look after.